Did you remember to hit record?
No, because we were just sitting here waiting. I thought you were ready.
Yeah. Thought you were ready.
Well, now we're ready.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome
To the Unhinged Bookcast, a podcast hosted by Jess and LJ who love all things fantasy books. I'm LJ.
And I'm Jess, and we're happy to have you back again.
Whether we're deep diving into thoughts and theories or just riding the vibes, we love discussing our current reads with each other and now with all of you.
Tonight, we are finishing out book 1 from Blood and Ash by Jennifer Armentrout, chapters 21 through the end of the book.
So if you don't know why we're going home to Atlantia, then pause, finish the book, and then come back when you're done.
This is our first time reading this series, so this will be another spoiler-free series as long as you've read through our current reading section.
Speaking of which, you can now discuss with us, spoiler-free, chapter by chapter, in our club on the Fable app.
Also, please do all the things, liking, following, and subscribing on all of our platforms.
These are romantic fantasy books that are intended for adults.
So this is your content warning for themes from these books, as well as our discussions that are not suitable for little listening ears.
We hope you all are reading along with us, and we can't wait to hear your thoughts and theories. And I can't wait to talk about it. So let's get started.
Let's get started. So chapter 21, you want to get started? You want to start us off?
Absolutely. So, quote, "Of all the ways I thought I might die, it had never occurred to me that it could happen while borrowing a book from the whatever that is, Athenium.
Sure.
Athenium. It may not be as hard a word, but it's going to be a hard word. We're just going to call it the library.
The library.
So right out the bat, great quote, loved it, made me laugh. So she's borrowing this Miss Willa Collins diary, right?
Yep.
She wants to read it, the little smut book. She wants to read it. And I knew it would be important, and it comes back later, which we'll talk about. But
yeah,
I think this is going to be pretty important.
I was giggling when I started reading because as soon as we got off recording last week, I just opened up the book and started reading. And we were talking about, you were specifically, we're talking about how this is going to be important. We're going to come back to this book and all this stuff. And it was literally the next chapter starts like this. And I almost texted you, but it was like 1 o'clock in the morning.
1 o'clock in the morning. It's usually when we're done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I knew it would be important. I'm so
yeah.
I loved it. That's the next thing she was doing, was sneaking into the library to get this smut book, which is what I'm calling it right now, is the smut book.
Basically.
It's what it sounds
pretty
like.
Pretty much what it is, yeah.
All Miss Willa Collins escapades, we'll call them. But so she's reading for a little bit, right? And she forgets what's going on. And then she hears somebody coming. So she goes out the window and is just like hanging out on this ledge, which I found hilarious for whatever reason. But like in my head, I'm imagining like little gargoyles and stuff like outside.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why, but I was. Like, can you imagine just sitting there chilling with a gargoyle, like outside of a library? Like, okay, is this
12-inch ledge,
right? But yeah, the Duke. So the Duke comes in, right? Because it's like his room in the library or whatever.
It's like private reading room.
Yeah, and then somebody else comes in, which I don't think we ever find out who it was. Which I was wondering if you had any suspicions.
I mean, at first I thought maybe it was Lord Douchebag. Sorry, yeah, Lord Mazine. That's what I called him in all of my notes. But then she also said she didn't recognize his voice, whoever it was. Yeah. So I'm gonna guess it's just a random guard, is my best guess.
That's kind of what I guess too. So maybe not that important.
Yeah.
But they had been talking to that blonde-haired dude that had sent he sent it.
Well, he did send it.
He full said, man, force. A craven hand of the Duke. Yes. When they were having their little town hall meeting outside.
Lev, I think I took notes of what his name was. It was like Lev Baron or something. Yeah. Lev Baron. Yes.
Yeah. And so I guess he's down in the dungeon or whatever, and they've been trying to interrogate him and figure out what, right? And then the Duke says, "And did he tell you anything about the claim he made about the third sons and daughters?" And then the other guy says, all he would say was that he knew the truth, that they weren't servicing the gods, and that everyone learned that. Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. And then so I guess like the dude's still alive or whatever, and the Duke's like, I'm gonna go handle it myself,
Yeah.
which means, yeah, he's gonna the man,
Mm-hmm.
which makes me wonder because they take off to do that, and I'm wondering if Hawk already got him out. That's what I wondered,
I was wondering,
knowing what we know by the end.
well, I also think they went to a the the author went to some trouble to give us details about Lev. Um, and if he
Yeah,
was
that's
just
true.
gonna, you know,
Off him.
leave the picture, then
Yeah.
why would that be the point? Being because like we know that he had two brothers, the second died of an illness, the third was given to the temples, father's dead, mother lives alone in the lower ward. Parents' names are Alexander and Maggie Barron. Um, I don't know. We get a lot of information about him for him to just be like a fleeting little
Up and
blip in the
gone.
story.
I kind of think so too, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think somebody got him out before they got down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then of course, knight in shining armor, Mr. Hawk walks in and he goes, "You still out there, princess?" Which I found freaking hilarious.
That part made me laugh too.
Yeah. And then so they almost kiss again, whatever. So this is when he's sitting on the opposite end of the room from her, right? He's sitting next to Sate or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh, that's what it says in this quote. So she says, Hawk was standing by the Sate, but the moment he spotted me, he moved incredibly fast.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was writing down, obviously we didn't know what we knew yet, but I was
Yeah.
writing down, I was like, something's up with him. He's
Yep.
sus. And I kept saying he was sus.
I felt
He was
super sus about
sus.
him too. I think it was
I
even
was,
after just chapter 21. I was like, I like Hawk. I had this note like I
I
like
think,
him, but
yeah.
there is something up with this guy.
Yep. And
And
don't worry, I put it down when I figured it out, but
okay, I figured it out last book. Or not last book, last
or last
chunk.
I
Last
was
chapter
starting to think
chunk.
it, yeah, but
And
I wasn't sure yet.
I was like, this has got to be what's going on. But
Yeah.
then I don't know why I let myself I second guess myself.
Second guess it.
I
It's
second
like
guess
maybe
myself
not. Maybe
too
I'm
much. I
wrong.
need to just learn. If I have the thought, let's just throw it out there and see where it sticks. Because I had this thought last one and I wish I would have actually straight out said it. But I put the note in here that literally says, I don't know if we're going to talk about it yet, but I knew X, Y, and Z last book. I should have said it. Ah,
Oh, chapter 22.
okay, chapter 22. Let's see here.
So this is they're still in the room, they're talking or whatever, and she tells him how she got out of her room, which was through the servants' stairs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that she uses them to sneak out all the time, right? Um, and then at some point they're having a conversation about like love or whatever, right? And Hawk apparently has loved someone a long, long time ago.
Yeah.
And this was the first time that I officially wrote down that I thought Hawk is the dark one.
This is it. Okay.
This was it. When he said he loved someone a long time ago, this is when I wrote it
Okay. So then they go to the right. Everybody's dressed up in some shade of red.
down. Mm-hmm.
She does not have to wait,
Except
except
for the
what?
second children, right?
Oh, I don't know if I caught that.
Yeah, I think it's except for the second children that were
What
supposed
color
to
were they
be
in?
ascending or whatever, white.
Oh, okay.
I want to say their
Okay.
families too, but I don't remember for sure.
This it would probably be the second, third, and the fourths, because it would be the right for all of the ones that are given over.
Oh, yep.
So any of them that were
I
being
probably just
given
wrote
over
down
to
the second.
service.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
then, yeah.
So they're all in some form of scarlet. She doesn't have to have her head veil on, just a mask. So her hair
Yep.
is actually out and all that. So
And she
basically
gets to wear a red
this,
dress too. She
and
doesn't
she
have to
gets
wear
to
the
wear a
white
red
one.
dress, and it's slightly scandalous compared to what she's used to wearing.
Slightly.
And the chapter ends basically with who I call Lord Douchebag. That's him in all of my notes is Lord
Yeah.
Mazine is Lord Douchebag approaching her and Victor. And Hawk is MIA at the moment.
MIA.
Yep.
Yeah. So rolling into chapter 23 with the fuck job Mazine.
Yep,
He
that works
comes
too.
up. Yep, he comes up and he smells like
Yep.
jasmine.
Mm-hmm.
And she wonders if he is the Atlantean, and that he could have been the one that murdered, I don't remember her name, but
Melissa.
Melissa. Yep. Yep. And
Yep.
then he kind of takes off or whatever. And then Agnes, the wife of the cursed huntsman,
That her and Victor
um,
helped.
yep, from like chapter 4 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So she comes up, she wants to talk to, probably privately or whatever. And Victor's like,
Yep.
yeah, no. So they go talk, and then she warns her just to be careful, right? And nothing else. And her and Victor both are like, yeah, something else is up.
Yeah.
Um, and the Duke is still late to the party. Hawk is still MIA. And this was when I also wrote down he's got to be off killing the Duke for beating the shit out of her.
Ooh, good call. I didn't call that one.
I did like instantly. I was like, because the last time we know the Duke is alive is when they're leaving the library. I think Hawk went back at some point to go take care of the Duke and let that other guy out, or let that guy out and kill the Duke, or maybe he already killed the
Yeah.
Duke, or he put the Duke in the prison. I don't know, but I want to find out.
Nice. That was a good call. I was totally surprised by that part.
Oh, really? Cool.
Pleasantly surprised by that
Pleasantly
part.
surprised. I mean, I was
Yeah.
still surprised too that that's how it came out, but I was like, it was interesting. So,
Yeah.
and then I have a tingle watch. Okay. I have a tingle watch. So, quote, I was unable to pay attention, and that was a shame because I'd always been curious about the dot, dot, dot. The back of my neck tingled, and the strongest sense of awareness swept over me. I couldn't explain it, but I knew that when I looked over my shoulder, I would see him, Hawk, and I was right. I love it.
I think it was maybe here, because I didn't actually write it down, but it was here or maybe even a little bit earlier, maybe even chapter 21 when they're in the library and he like moves quickly to her, that I was like, maybe I did write it down. Anyways, I was like, he has, there's something special about him. He's got some sort of
Mm-hmm.
gifts. He's not just a normal human.
He's not
He's
just
not just a
normal.
mortal. But I mean, I'd already kind of called what he was
Yeah, that's
at
true.
that point. But I
Yep.
was like, yep, confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. Even
Love
this.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Loved it. Um, and then her gift keeps going off for it's gone
Going
off
off, yeah.
by
Hmm.
itself, yeah, whatever, like multiple times, right? So I think this was like around the fourth time that it happens.
Yeah.
And that's when she reaches out unwillingly to see Hawk, I think. And then
Yeah, because it's this is when they're on their walk, I think, right?
I think it was right before their walk,
Or
but
right
yeah, she's
before.
still debating if she wants to go out into the garden or go back to her rooms, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
have a quote here, and it says, and I
Yes,
didn't
he's
want to
escorting her
return.
right now. Sorry.
Yeah, no, and they're just kind of outside, and she's trying. Yeah, they're trying to decide if he wants to go out for a walk or if she wants to go back to her rooms.
Hmm.
Quote, and I didn't want to return to my room, left to confusing thoughts that I couldn't act upon. I didn't want to spend another night wishing I was living instead of actually doing it.
Hmm.
Loved that. And I loved just like
That was a good one.
how like this is kind of where she starts to be like, yeah, fuck this shit. This sucks.
Yeah.
Like I hate this. And like, but she's actually verbalizing it and recognizing it herself too, that this is not cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
that she deserves more, that she's got
yep.
more worth than what they're giving it to her. And yeah, that was cool.
And it's not fair to be the damn maiden, basically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that no one's giving her information. All right,
Chapter
chapter
24.
24. So they're on their walk now.
Yep.
She decided she does want to go to the, well, she tells Hawk like, I want to go to the gardens, and he's like, well, he could see the hesitation. He's like, it's because there's bad memories there. Like your favorite one of your favorite places is now filled with bad memories because of Rylan being killed there. And then he says, quote, one of the last places I saw my brother was a favorite place of mine. There were tunnels that led all over. There was one that was tight and shouldn't really be entered. But Hawk says that his brother himself and a friend of theirs had found a beautiful, like they went through one of these caverns that was super, super tight, and they went through it, and at the end of it was this pool of blue warm water. like a hot springs, basically.
Yeah.
Um, and that we find out, I think in this same chapter, that it's the same place where he kind of alludes to saying that like his brother, something happened to his brother and
Yeah.
the friend
Something
died. Something
happened to the
happened to the
friend.
brother and the friend.
Yeah.
And so one of his favorite places became tainted by bad memories as well.
Yeah. And like he
Um,
also mentions just
Go
real
ahead.
quick, like this
Mm-hmm.
is where he's from, like back where he's from. And then she kept
Mm-hmm.
thinking about like in farming and stuff. She's like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
She's
that was
thinking like, I
another like,
haven't heard of anywhere like that.
uh-huh.
Or yeah.
Yeah.
Because she asks him where he's from and he goes, "Oh, it's a small village. You probably never heard of it."
Yep.
And then Hawk doesn't go into any details of like where it's at, how they died, what happened, or even like when it was, like how long ago it was, even though she's trying to get some information from him.
Yep.
So they decide to go to the garden, and he's like, "Well, let's make some good memories in the garden again. Make it one of your favorite places again." And so they go to the Weeping Willow in the garden, and Hawk suggests that going under the branches to sit on the benches underneath, which I think this place sounds like an
Kind of
amazing little
cool. Yeah.
hideout.
This kind of sounds good. I like it.
My kids are driving me crazy, and I'm going to I'm going behind the branches.
Where nobody can see you except for Hawk,
Yes.
apparently.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and she
Yeah.
does keep saying when they get
Yes,
in
that
there,
he
it's like
shouldn't
pitch
be.
black.
Yeah.
It's nighttime. She can't see anything, but he
So
can
how
see
does he
totally
know that there's
fine.
nobody in it? Yeah.
Yeah, there's no one there. He seems to know exactly like where her face is, where her like shoulders are and stuff like that. And she's like fumbling around like a blind rat, basically.
Yep.
Um, and they're talking, and I also put in this note, like what we were saying, he can see in the dark. I put in a note of he has some sort of powers. He definitely has some sort of powers. That
Hmm.
was another like, yep, there's something different about this guy. Um, but then he keeps talking about the Ascended and the whole maiden situation like he dislikes it. This is, I think,
Yes.
the first time that we really get from Hawk that a feeling of disdain for
Yeah.
the Ascended, the maiden, the whole maiden like situation, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
He thinks it's all stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't support it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, at the end, she tells him to kiss her so that she doesn't have to go back to being herself yet. And I was like,
Hmm.
yep, that's fair.
Yeah, definitely.
So, chapter 25, after a steamy makeout session, they're walking back, and Victor
Yep.
catches them. And what I had after this, like after their little spitting match, was Hawk is just fucking bebops on out of there, right? Because she
He
turns around and
does.
all of a sudden he's gone. And so that was another like, mm-hmm, yep, yep, I knew it. And then she basically just emotionally word vomits to Victor, and it's
Hmm.
like 2 or 3 pages long. So I
Hmm.
just have one quote, not the whole book, I promise, but quote, this whole stupid thing is the point. The fact that I can't do anything is the point. That I can't have one night to do something normal and fun and enjoyable. That I can't experience anything without being warned to remember what I am. That every privilege you have and Tawny has and everyone else has, I don't have. I have nothing. Yes.
Hmm.
I loved it.
And help me with the details here. He's taking her back to her room, but then there's commotion coming
There's
from
commotion from the
the
hall or whatever.
room.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where they're
like
having
the
the right.
ballroom basically where they were having
Yeah.
the rite or whatever. And so they
They
peek
hear
in the
like some
doors.
snapping or something and some
Yes.
screaming, and
Yep.
that's when they go in. Yeah.
So they peek in the doors and they see the Duke. And okay, again, details. He's hanging from
One of the beams or something is what I
flag.
thought. Yeah. I mean, I can go back and
And
look,
I
but
think he had been there the whole time, basically,
yeah,
is
but something had
what I
snapped
gathered. But he was like behind the flat, like a
behind
banner for the
something. Yeah.
right or something like that. And then
Yeah.
the banner fell on one
Mm-hmm.
side. And so then you see him with the cane that he used for his lessons
Yep.
shoved through his heart, and he is Gonzo.
Yeah. And then
Um,
there's
yeah.
words on the
Yes.
wall or banner, something written in blood. From blood and ash, we will rise.
Hmm.
Fabulous.
And they believe that is how the chapter ends.
So chapter 26. Um, Obviously right after this, shit goes downhill, right? And
Yeah.
there's dissenters in
Windows
woven
are
mass.
exploding.
Yeah, arrows are coming in. Dissenters in woven mass are basically the ones attacking the right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Poppy, Tawny. Well, they get away, right?
They do, but
Um,
it's like a giant, like a stampede,
yep.
basically. All these people just
And
running
they're kind of just
through.
fishbowled.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
they can't get out.
Poppy, Tawny, Victor, Lord Douchebag, the Duchess, and like several of the royal guards get out and get away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she says something like the Ascended will handle the situation or whatever. We're gonna get
Yeah.
away. Okay. So they go off and they're in this room. And I'm gonna sneeze. So hold on just a moment. Victor and Poppy like no, like that this is also not a good situation. There's no way out. Like this is not good. And so like they're prepping and
Yeah, and the
she
other ones are like, "Oh, we're fine. They're not gonna find us." They're like,
uh-huh.
"No, we're sitting ducks."
Yep. And so like she gets her little dagger ready and everything like that. And sure as shit, the room does get attacked.
Yep.
And her and Victor are kicking ass and taking names
Yeah, that
with the
part
other
was
guards that
cool.
were there. Yeah, that part was amazing. And can
Mm-hmm.
I just say, I am loving these fight scenes. Just like they are described just as well as like the intimate scenes. Does that make sense? Like
Oh, yes.
it's
Oh,
very
yes.
pleasing and it's what's going on and it's
Very easy to imagine and visualize what's going
right.
on.
Yes, I
I've been
love it. And
enjoying
so
it
far
too.
all of them, yeah, have been so good. But anyway, so yeah, they're Victor ends up getting stabbed through the back or something like that, right?
Yeah, kind of like it seems like everything's done. Well, I think everything was done, and then one of the dissenters they thought was dead.
Oh
He like
yeah,
sits
it
up and
got
like
back up
throws a dagger or a sword or something like that
through
at
him.
him
Yeah. Yep.
and hits him in the chest. Yeah,
Yep.
so yeah.
And unfortunately, that's when Hawk gets there, finds him,
Mm-hmm.
takes care of that one remaining, but it's too late for Victor.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Douchebag
Hmm.
says some things, and then
I don't
he
remember what he
gets
says,
what's
but
I don't remember either, but he's like, that's too bad, or something
it
like
was
that.
uncouth and insensitive and shitty.
Yes. And Poppy totally just like slaughters his ass, and I
She
was so happy.
loses it.
I would have too.
Oh,
Uh
she like goes ape shit on him and just
well, like, because that's
chunks
like
him
her
into a bunch of
only
pieces.
family in theory, other than her brother
Basically,
Ian,
yeah.
that she like has. And so, yep, I
Well,
would
and I
have
think
lost it.
Victor, as Victor's dying, what does he say to her? Like, I'm sorry I couldn't protect
I'm
you,
sorry.
or
I'm sorry.
something like that.
Forgive
And
me.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
forgive me.
Yeah. And so she's like, those words are just ringing in her head as she's chopping Lord Douchebag into pieces. That
Yep.
was, it was
Fantastic.
fantastic. I'm glad you said it because, yep, that was fantastic.
I loved it.
But then
But
there's
you
like
could
this
feel the
white light.
emotion in it though.
Oh, you could
The
so
way
feel
she,
the
even the
emotion
way
in
she
that.
wrote it, even though yes, it was kind of gory, but it was
Yes.
just amazing. I loved it.
Oh, you could feel every bit of anger, frustration, sadness, everything just coming out with every blow that
It
she
was
wrote down.
wonderful.
Hmm.
Fantastic. Chapter 27. All I had was basically the Duchess tells her that the king and queen are summoning her back to the capital.
During this whole situation, this is like the first time we find out that when she's deep in her thoughts or grief or whatever, there's chaos, her gift kind of like her touch or whatever gets also buried with her. So she wasn't able to like take Victor's pain as he was dying, which haunts her later on. But
Yeah,
that comes up again a couple times later. Um, I think it's going to be important later that she like
could be.
learns how to pull it out even when there's chaos around her.
Could be. Yeah.
Um, and then this was another thing. Hawk keeps apologizing to her in chapter 27. Like he truly does have something to be sorry for. Like she tries to take the blame for the attack in a way, keeps trying to figure out ways to like put the blame back on herself. And Hawk is like, "You're not to blame. If anyone is responsible, I dot dot dot." And that was a direct
Mm-hmm.
quote. Um, which is like the first time I think we've get a little bit of confirmation that he definitely like had something to do with some of the stuff going on. And then chapter 28.
Chapter 28. Um, Tawny can't go on this adventure. Sorry, girlfriend. You gotta stay back.
Yeah.
Um, Hawk tells her not to bring the veil or basically any of her white dresses or anything like that so that nobody would know that she is the maiden, in theory, to kind
Mm-hmm.
of keep it hidden. We get to
Mm-hmm.
meet these guards that are going with her. Two of them, Philip, and I can't remember the other one, but they
Eric.
were Eric. Yep, they were
Yep.
playing cards with her in chapter 1 at the Red
At
Pearl.
the Red Pearl. Yep.
And then, yeah, we have Karen, which is Hawk's friend that came with him from the capital, supposedly.
Mm-hmm. And he's also the
Um,
one who knocked on Hawk's door that night at the Red Pearl and said that the shipment or envoy or
Shipment
whatever was there.
has arrived. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
which is I still want to know what that was. But chapter 29, we also learned that he brought Willa Collins' diary and he wants to know how
Yes.
far she read into it.
Okay, I have a note here. He's like, they're bored and they're riding along and they're bored and it's a long ride. And he's like, here, read me a chapter of this book.
Also, so they come up to the blood forest.
Uh-huh.
And there's bones that litter the ground, and it's just like a sea of crimson red. Um, and then I can't remember what she says, but Phillips, he goes, "This place is not natural," which I
Mm-hmm.
want to know more about the blood forest.
You know, where did it come from? When did
Why
it
are there
start?
bones all over the ground? And
And
yeah,
they said like a lot of it is from the craven because they wither if they're like they wither to bones if they don't feed.
yep. Oh, moving on.
Moving on that note.
Chapter 30.
Hmm.
Let's just say they have a cuddle sesh to warm up, right?
Yep.
And she tells him about her parents. So
Mm-hmm.
dad was a firstborn, and mom was a lady in wait that we know does not ascend or never did ascend, whatever.
Yep.
And just how kind of it was love at first sight kind of thing with them.
Mm-hmm.
And then she can't sleep, so Hawk shares a handy trick to help her go to sleep.
Handy trick.
A very handy trick. Chapter 31. So I put, because I talked about it last time. So there's these rock formation or like, whatever going on.
Mm-hmm.
And one looks like an arrow in a circle that is just like the etchings in the stone the night that Rylan died. So that's also very
Okay,
interesting.
give me a little context here because I remember you talking about that, but I'm not remembering where you're
Yeah.
getting this from chapter 31.
So from 31 or 21
30, 31.
or whatever I said.
Yeah,
31.
31.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So they're kind of going along. This is right before all the brats or whatever and the
Uh-huh.
Craven attack.
Okay.
They're going down and she's like, I see all these, I can't remember what she says, but like just rocks stacked up, whatever, moved around to make it look like something. And then she says
Oh,
there's one
right.
that looks like an arrow into a circle, just like the etchings that were in the stone the night that Rylan died. Because remember, she goes down to like,
Right. Okay,
I don't
I
know, give him
missed
aid or
that
something like
detail.
that. And she sees his blood in going
Mm-hmm.
into the etchings or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then, yeah, that's when we see like the first brat and then the whole horde of them. And then that's when the Craven come.
Okay, I missed the etchings in the stone. I'm glad you
Yeah,
had that
that
note
was,
in
yeah.
there.
See, the etchings aren't in the stone. It's the rocks are formed like it in this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but the first time with Rylan, they were like etched into the stone, I think is what it says, or etched into the ground, or I don't remember what it says exactly, but yeah.
Okay.
And this is right before a Craven attack.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so they fight with the Craven, right? And then three of the guards die. Eric, Phillips, and no, Phillips doesn't die yet.
Mm-mm.
Eric, something, and Noah was the first one.
Yes.
And so she goes up and she uses her gift, right? So that she
Yep.
can ease his pain. And he was like, hey, I knew who you were at the Red
Yep.
Pearl and that kind of thing. And he's saying about how all his pain is gone or whatever. And then he,
Mm-hmm.
dies peacefully or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And Hawk knows about the gift now.
Yep. They say how like, oh my gosh, the rumors are true. She has the touch, and that's how that chapter ends. Okay, so moving on, chapter 32. So we make it to New Haven. They get through the
Yep.
Blood Forest, all the stuff. They're in New Haven. People are a little strange here. Um, at least the way that they're greeting, I guess you could say greeting the caravan.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely
Well, it
strange.
starts with like the one kid, right?
The one kid, and then he like goes next door and knocks on the door, and then another kid comes out, and then he goes next door and another kid comes out, and then an adult comes out, and it's like this, I don't know, it's just the way they're greeting everybody is just different.
Yeah.
Like they know something, and they
They
do.
know something and they do.
Uh-huh. So then they get to the manor. I guess it would be same as like the palace in Macedonia, but it's a smaller place. It was like a manor.
Yeah.
Um, Kieran knocks on the door, and he's welcomed warmly by this large, hulking man we
Hmm.
know as Elijah, and then there's some others there as well. Um, there's
Oh
no
yeah.
ascended.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no ascended anywhere to be found. No lord or lady, no duke or duchess, no anything like that. And so then they learn from one of the people that, her name was Magda, one of the people that greeted them, that Lord Halverston, the Ascended who should be residing there at the manor, is out hunting with some men, which is why he didn't greet them. Which Poppy was like, well, that's kind of weird. Like, no Ascended that I know would go hunting, but
Yep.
I don't know them all, so whatever. And then Hawk also seems to know this Magda lady by name. They haven't had introductions. He knows her pretty well. Asks her
Hmm.
to get Poppy set up with some food in a room and all that stuff. This is the first time we found out that her gift is one of the things that makes her chosen. Because it's been
Yes.
one of my questions this whole book so far is why is she chosen? What makes her so special? Like she has this gift, yes, but why was she chosen?
Yeah.
So we find out that the gift is one of the things that makes her chosen
Yeah.
to be the maiden. And it's confirmed now she senses emotions, not just pain like before. It's emotions. We also learned that she, like again, confirmed that she can read the emotions if she sees the person, but she cannot take their pain unless she's touching them.
Yes.
And then we get a little bit of history as well. So only Poppy and then the first maiden, which are they're the only two, are the only two to ever be known to possess the gift. And her mother realized she had the gift around the age of 3 or 4. We don't know why she realized that, but they threw that one in, that little tidbit in there.
Mhm.
Okay, so chapter 33, they're basically like undressing in front of each other here.
Yeah.
And so they can see each other's scars because we've been hearing throughout the book so far how she has all of these scars all over her body, and we know that it's
Yeah.
from when the Craven attack on her family when she was little. And so she says how she was bitten that night as a child, but she never turned. She has these claw marks, well, what look like claw marks across her stomach. So to anybody just looking at her now without looking closely, it just looks like a Craven like clawed at her. But the reality is it was from fangs. She was actually bitten that night, but she never turned Craven, and no one knows why. But this was another reason that she was chosen. So her gift, and then again because she was bitten and never turned. Um, and it's kind of a big secret. There's only a handful of people that actually know this secret, and that would be the king or the queen. Yeah, the king and queen, the duchess and the duke, and her brother, and then Victor. So there's only a few people left alive at this point that even know the secret behind the fact that she was bitten and never turned. And then she's kind of deciding like if she wants to tell Hawk the secret behind her scars, but she doesn't. And then Hawk, she notices, has this like nasty red mark on his inner thigh below his hip. And then she notes that it looks like a brand of some sort. And she does briefly ask him about it, and he says, quote, I was dumb enough to get caught. And
Hmm.
that's all he says about it.
So I have it right before like the many years ago when I was dumb enough to get caught thing.
Mm.
So yeah, so they're talking about all these things, right? And she goes, um, and it was strange to know myself and to be so certain when I'd spent so long not knowing myself, neither really be never being never really being allowed to discover who I was, what I might like or dislike, what I'd want or need. But I knew now. I had known the moment I asked him to stay. I knew what the consequences would be. I knew what I was and what was expected of me, and I knew I could no longer be that. It wasn't what I wanted in life. It had never been my choice, but this I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk was who I wanted. This was my choice. I was reclaiming my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like later down, and this is just after kind of she's talking about all the kind of things that happened. Um, it was when I spoke to Lauren for the first time and when I went out to the rise. My evolution kept me quiet as the Duke delivered his lessons, and when I sliced Lord Mazine's arm, hand, and head from his body. I'd been cutting through the chains I never chose to wear, just hadn't realized it yet. Then there were so many little steps over the years, and especially in recent weeks. I didn't know when it had finally happened, but I knew one thing for certain: Hawk wasn't the catalyst, he was the reward. So
Yeah.
this was just
So
kind of her decision that she's just like, fuck it.
yeah, where she's like, you know, okay, yes, I haven't crossed the line of becoming not a maiden anymore,
Uh-huh.
but I've done this little thing and that little thing and this little thing. Like this has been a long time coming. I've been trying to make little decisions for myself of who I am and what I want up to this
Yeah.
point. And so this is it,
Character
basically.
development. Top
Yeah.
tier, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And then
They do the no pants dance.
they do the no pants dance. She officially becomes not a maiden any longer.
And we'll slide past that. But
Yeah.
I bet we have the same quote, but I had like literally the last couple lines. I don't know what
Yeah,
you had.
same. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
same. It's right at the end of the chapter. You can go ahead and take it.
Yeah. Um so this is after the no pants dance, and I slowly became aware of the tension in his body. It was the gift slowly poking through my heady emotions. Hawk's lips grazed my cheek and then found mine. He kissed me softly, sweetly. He says, "Don't forget this." I touched his jaw. I don't think I ever could. "Promise me," he said,
Hmm.
seeming to not hear me as he lifted his head, his gaze snagged with mine. "Promise me you won't forget this, Poppy, that no matter what happens tomorrow, the next day, the next week, you won't forget this, that this was real."
Yep, I
I
have the
couldn't look
same
away.
one.
I promise I won't forget. And all I wrote in my book was, "Oh my God, oh, OMG."
Yep.
I was like, what does this mean? What's going to happen?
Yep. Here it comes. Back when I said, before the trip started, and he's like, "Don't take the veil, don't take Tawny," and all this stuff. I'm like, some shit's gonna go down.
It's
Here it goes.
going
It's
down.
going down.
Let's do it. All right. So, chapter 34. What do you have?
Okay.
Because I guarantee
So
you have more than I did. Because
I have
my
a
at
quite a
this
bit.
point, my if my notes were like one sentence, two sentences, I was just like flipping pages, man.
Yeah, it got really, this is I think where the book really started to grab me
Get
good.
super
Like it
intense.
got
Yeah.
good. So my notes. Oh man. Hawk says that he's gonna go out and take care of something. So they spent the night together. And he leaves like in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Is it time to wake up?" He goes, "No, I just need to go take care of something." And he leaves. And then a while later, like morning, early morning hits,
Very
and
early morning. Yeah.
Phillips comes in. And he's in a panic. He says
Yeah.
everything is off here. There's no Ascended anywhere. No one actually knows who Kieran and Hawk are. They just show up. They've jumped through the ranks. They supposedly came from the capital, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Your personal guard," and we don't know this Kieran guy. He just was part of Hawk's, somebody Hawk trusted.
Uh-huh.
And then the other two of the other guards from the palace that they took with them are missing. They retired to their private rooms, and now they're gone. No one's seen them.
Yeah.
And so Phillips is like, "You need to come with me. We need to get out of here."
Yeah. He's definitely picking up what's not fully being put
He
down right here.
he did start putting pieces together. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is off. We need to go now." And she is going back and forth between like, "I trust Hawk, but I'm going to go with him because he's panicked and I don't want to cause a problem. I'm
Yeah.
just going to see what happens," kind of thing. So they leave her room, and like basically as soon as they step into the hallway, Kieran comes in to the hallway.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And then a fight breaks out,
Yep.
and Phillips stabs Kieran,
Hmm.
not fatally, but stabs him like lower stomach, thigh area. And then Poppy notes the sound that Kieran makes when he was stabbed is the
Yes.
same sound that she heard from the dissenter, supposedly dissenter, that killed Rylan when she stabbed him in the garden. An inhuman, animalistic sound.
And when I heard that, or when I read that part, I was just like, let's go.
Right? I know. It so got good from here. So then Kieran starts to morph into something else. He grows fur and paws and claws and fangs. He's a wolven. And I freaking called that last episode
Did
because
you? Okay.
I
I didn't
did.
see
I
that
don't
one
know if you
coming.
remember, I actually said it during our last episode. The whole situation with the guy in the garden when he makes this
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
animalistic sound and then there's a whistle and he's called back and I was like, okay, there's the history that the Wolven are like bound to the Atlanteans, some of them, and they serve them. And I was like, I bet he's Wolven. They're
Yeah, yeah.
supposedly
I was
extinct,
with
but
you
I
on
bet
that
he's
part. Yeah,
Wolven.
yeah,
Yeah, so then this happened and I was like, I called it. The Wolven are not
yeah.
extinct. Um, yeah, so then they take off. Phillips and Poppy take off and they're able to get away from Kieran. They get out to the barn where the other two guards are waiting with horses and they're ready to take off. And then the Wolven slash dissenter, but we know now it's a Wolven from the garden that killed
Mhm.
Rylan, is there. And he's
Yep.
missing a
His name's
hand now.
Jericho.
Jericho, and he's missing a hand. I take this back. The fight hadn't started quite yet. Hawk shows up, things tensions high, things are going down. He
Hmm.
shows up with this crossbow. He shoots Phillips and Luddy, the other one of the other guards, and then Kieran takes out Bryant, the other guard. So then Delano's there. His eyes are a different color, and we know now that he is also Wolven. Um, and then we learn, like you said, that the man slash Wolven guy from the garden is there. His name is Jericho. And then Poppy notes that she reaches out with her gift to Hawk to see what he's feeling,
Yeah.
and she feels nothing, just like with the Ascended. But it's
Nothing,
a
like a
little bit
wall.
different. That's where it's different, where it's like a wall has been put up, like he's
Like he's
purposely
blocking
blocking her
her.
out.
Yes.
And then this is for me, this is the part where it's like, okay, Hawk was behind the attack on Rylan. Um,
All the
Hawk was
things.
behind a lot of things. And then
Yeah.
Jericho asks if he can kill Poppy, and Hawk says, quote, touch her and you'll lose more than just a hand this time.
Yeah.
Um,
But she finds out he's an Atlantean, and all I had was after that was that they take her prisoner.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so they take her prisoner, they put her down in the dungeons, chain her up and all this stuff. And then Delano comes and brings her food, claims it's not poison, and he says, quote, he told us not to touch you. One would assume that extends to not harming you as well. So, like, the food's not poisoned. We're not going to touch you. We're not going to harm you. And then she asks, why are you trying to keep me alive? If the Dark One is just wants me to kill me anyways, why are you trying to keep me alive? And then he says, quote, if the prince wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. And this is where I was like, confirmed. Hawk is the Dark One slash Prince Castiel. That was
Yeah.
my note. Not confirmed, but I have strong suspicions at this point.
All right. So, chapter 36. This is a huge information dump chapter. So, stick with us here. So, Hawk comes in to heal her wound that she got on her stomach or whatever from wrestling with one of the guides, sword something.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to talk to her, right? So, the first the first quote I have is the Craven were our fault. Their creation, that is, all of this, the monsters in the mist, the war, what has become of this land, you, us, it all started with an incredibly desperate, foolish act of love many, many centuries before the War of Two Kings.
Mm-hmm.
But do you
So,
know the true history?
okay, so a couple little things. So that true act of love, this is what truly did start this whole situation.
Right.
The I don't know if it was the first king. I kind of got that impression it was like the first king of Atlantia.
Mhm.
I don't remember his name, but
King Malek.
yes, Malek.
Fell
King
hopelessly
Malek.
in love with a mortal woman. Her name was
Yes.
Isabeth. Some
Yes.
say it was Queen Ilana who poisoned her. Others claim it was a jilted lover of the king's who stabbed her because he apparently had quite a being unfaithful. but either way, she was mortally wounded. And
Mm-hmm.
as I said, Malik was desperate to save her. He committed the forbidden act of ascending her, what you know as ascension.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that?
So what happened was he was desperate to save her. And so if anybody knows anything about vampires, which I really enjoy stories about vampires. But
This would be like
basically,
my second book. So,
okay,
I'm fresh here.
yeah. Yeah, so basically he bit her, he drained her, drank her blood, drained her of almost all her blood, and like as he felt her heartbeat waning or wanting, whatever, starting to die out, he stopped and then he gave her his blood. And he gave her a lot of his blood, which turned her into what we know now as the first vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Vampire. Then the vampires are the ones that actually feed on mortals. They have this bloodlust, as
Mm-hmm.
Hawk says. Um, or I guess he's not Hawk anymore. We now know he's Prince Castile. But they have this bloodlust. Once they start drinking, they can't stop, and they have to feed to survive. So the vampires are the ones feeding on the mortals, and they're the ones that created the Craven, not the Atlanteans. I mean, I guess technically the Atlanteans started it, but where we know before from the history that Poppy's learned before, they say that the Atlanteans, with their poisonous kiss, which is actually a bite, when they bite and drink their blood, it's the ones that turn people into Craven.
Yeah.
But it's actually the vampires that turn people to Craven.
Then, then, at some point, the vampire revolted, right, which is what caused the
Mm-hmm.
War of Two Kings. Um, and we know that the Atlantean king and queen still live. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have Prince Malik.
I'm gonna call
The
him Malik. I think that one is actually Malik.
Okay, you call him Malik, I'll call him Malik.
Sounds
And
good.
the Dark One's brother, who is currently captured and being used basically as a,
Use.
like, what do you want to say? Like a
Well, I
power
mean,
source? I don't know.
yeah,
Blood sport,
because
blood bank.
what Hawk tells her here is that the Ascended are the bad guys. They're
Right.
the vampires. They're actually the vampires. They are what that first king created and what's continued. And to create a vampire, you have to drain their blood almost completely and then give them your blood to turn them into a vampire
Yep.
as an Atlantean. But they can only survive, like, it doesn't work with mortal blood. It has to be Atlantean blood to
Okay.
turn
Yep.
someone vampire, which vampire also equals ascended. Vampire and ascended, same thing.
Yep.
Um, and so we learn that Hawk was actually so like the ascension, this big secret of what is the ascension, how does it work, all this stuff supposedly is from the gods and all these things. What the ascension is these people, the ascended, have an Atlantean, and they have Atlantean blood that they give to the mortals to turn them to vampires slash ascended. That is what the
Yeah, that
ascension
makes more
is.
sense. Okay.
That is what
Maybe
the
I was
ascension
just
is.
vibes reading this time.
Yeah, no, that's cool. It's good.
I got to a point. I just went for it, man.
Yeah, and so that is how they create the Ascended. And that is also why the Ascended cannot be around in the light. And Hawk shares that with her, that little bit of history as well. He's like, "Have you ever seen an Ascended walk around in daylight?" He says, "If you want to kill an Ascended, leave them outside unprotected and they'll be dead in a couple of hours." Basically, turn to
Right.
ash. Their skin starts to turn to ash. And so like they can't be seen, they can't be out in daylight. They have to feed. They have to feed on ascended blood, not mortal blood, ascended blood. And well, I guess after they ascend, they can feed on mortal blood, but to ascend, they have to feed on Atlantean blood, which is why he had this scar. So he tells her this scar he has is because it's a brand. It is literally the royal crest. It is a brand on his thigh supposedly given to him by the queen because he was held in one of these temples. And then he shares with her that the third and fourth born sons and daughters that are given to the temple in service of the gods are actually feed. They're literally food for the ascended so that they can continue to live on. And he was kept captive in one of these temples for, he said, 2 decades. So 200
Right.
years.
No, that'd be
For
20 years.
20 years. Sorry, 20 years. Thank you. Math is not my strong point. 20 years he
Mine
was
neither,
held.
but I'm glad I got that.
So he was held captive for his blood and other things as well. So he said he was cut, he was opened up, like all these things so that they could drain his blood to feed to these secondborns as they ascended to make them ascended. And then I
That's
think this is
wild.
also the part where he goes into the history of like why his brother is now lost. That he says, I was saved by someone came to get me and they basically traded places, or the other person was captured. So he was saved and this other ascended is there. They have to have an ascended there to use for their blood.
Hmm.
It was a
Okay.
big chapter, a
It
lot
was
of
a big
info dump,
chapter.
a lot of history there. And Poppy's like, oh my gosh, like info dump. I don't know what to believe. Whew, okay.
Right. Now we got that out of the way.
Got that out
Chapter
of the way, got the history out of the
37.
way.
So we have Delano and I want to say
N-
Neil or something like that.
Nail.
Nail. Okay.
Yeah.
So Delano is a woman, Nail is an Atlantean. So they come to the
Mm-hmm.
cell to take her to more comfortable arrangements, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Jericho and 6 dudes come in, right?
Yeah,
Mr.
they're like hanging in the
Toulis,
shadows.
yes, from the let's call it city hall meeting or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that didn't want his third born son being given up or whatever. So he's one of them. And they all want to kill her, which causes this big, huge fight.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe it's Deliano, whatever. He gives her a sword or something so that
Mm-hmm.
she can fight. And they're like, you kill any of them, basically. So it's this big old fight, and she is definitely wounded. She's basically dying. And like
Mm-hmm.
some of the last things she remembers before she goes out is comes in and yells, "Get the prince." So then chapter 38, we wake up and so he I'm gonna let you explain this because
Okay. Okay, so first I have like she's in and out of consciousness a little bit and she hears Kieran call Hawk Castile. So my first note was like Castile, yep, called it. He is
yup,
Prince Castile. He is,
tis our
that's our
confirmation.
confirmation. He is the dark one. He is Castile. And so she is like mortally wounded. She is on death's doorstep at this point.
Yeah,
And he says, I'm gonna heal you. I'm gonna heal you. You're not even gonna have a scar. And he opens up his wrist. He cuts his wrist, or he bites into his own wrist and he cuts it open and he's like, drink, drink my blood.
drink,
And
damn
she's
it.
like, no, you're gonna turn me. I will not be turned into a monster. You're gonna turn me into a monster. No, I won't do it. Because she doesn't believe what he says, but she does believe what he said about the history. So she's like,
Right.
I'm not doing that. No. And so then he gets kind of quiet and gentle with her. And come to find out, like vampires can, he compels her. Anyway, so he compels her to drink and he saves her life. He tells her that Atlantean blood has healing properties and it can heal and save. And so it does. It heals all of her scars. She doesn't have a single scar left. Um, but it's forbidden. Even Kieran left the room because it is forbidden to use your blood to heal other people because of how the first king turned his lover to a vampire. Yes, but then she also, I don't have the direct quote, but she says something or she's thinking something and he's like, stop thinking. Oh, it's when she's all like hot and bothered and he's like, stop thinking those things. Stop thinking those things. And she's like, what do you know?
Yes.
How do you know what I'm thinking? And he goes, "Oh, I know." So I'm pretty sure he can read minds. That's my also my
Or he
little
could
theory.
smell it just like Kieran can.
Yeah, yeah, that too. That too. Could be that. It could be
That
more
was my
simple.
thought. Yeah. Okay, how
But then
about
she basically like freaks out. She's having this massive panic attack and everything, and he like grabs her, and then somehow she like while he's got her around the waist, she's able to like bend down and she sees a dagger on the ground and it's bloodstone and she grabs it, turns and stabs him in the heart. And that's the end of the chapter.
Yes. Chapter 39. She keeps saying, I'm sorry. But then she runs around and leaves. And she's like, I'm out of here. And then she like gets her shit together and decides she's just gonna run out into the snow.
With hardly any clothes on.
Yep. And he catches up to her, which takes her by surprise, and he instantly bites her, right? And he
Yeah,
does the
basically.
vampire thing. And then he says, I can't believe it, but I should have known. And my first thought was mates, mates, mates. Is that what you should have
Really?
known?
Oh, that's so funny. I did not have that thought.
Oh,
I
really?
totally thought he was thinking, I should have known you were not fully mortal or you
Yeah,
were
see,
half
I
Atlantean. Like, I
that's what
actually
I
had
thought
that
later,
thought.
obviously, with the later chapters.
That's
But
funny.
yeah, but that's what I thought at first. And then so they also do the no pants dance in the snow because that makes
Yeah.
everything better apparently after you stab somebody. But
That
speaking of
was kind of
which,
funny, the whole back and
yes.
forth.
So
Oh
yeah,
my
so I've
gosh.
got it. So
Okay.
after the fact, she goes, "You're not mad because she stabbed him in the heart, right?" And he goes, "Are you not still mad at me?" And she says, "Yes, I'm still angry." And then he goes, "And I'm still angry that you stabbed me in the chest." And then he says he is taking her home and she goes, "Where?" And he goes, "To Atlantia." Chapter 40. We're almost there, friends. We're almost there.
2 more chapters.
We've got more going on though. So she's back in the room and Kareen is basically playing babysitter. Um, and like we were just talking about, he can smell her. He wants her to take a bath because she smells like Castile
Yep.
and smells something on her. Um, and he kind of tells her that Atlantia is beyond the Skotos Mountains, blanketed
Mm-hmm.
in mist to hide
Mm-hmm.
it, right? Um, and then she does end up going and taking a bath. And she's just kind of thinking her plan, how she's going to get away. She doesn't know what to do, yada, yada, yada. Must have fallen asleep at some point. And she wakes up and Kareen is just outside of the bathtub. Um, and he's kind of telling her about how Atlanteans and Wolven can have some kind of special bonds or something like that,
Yep.
which I'm sure is going to come up at some point. We'll
Yeah,
get cross
probably.
that bridge when we get there.
We'll get there. Mm-hmm.
But then like he's noticing her scars or whatever, and he goes, "Among my people, scars are revered. They are never hidden." And she goes, "Among my people, it's not polite to stare at a naked woman in a bathtub." And then he goes, "Your people sound
Yeah.
incredibly boring." And I was like, this is gonna be the best dude friend. I already know it, and I can't
Yes.
wait.
There has to be a best dude friend in these books. Yes. So then just backing up just a little bit while she's in the bathtub and she's like trying to roll over all the things that have just happened, everything she's just learned. Um, she's thinking and she goes, but if they were feeding on children, almost draining innocent people and creating craven, they were no better than the Duke. I pressed my lips together, fighting back tears that wanted to break free. I'd cried enough today, but Ian, gods, Ian couldn't be like them. He was kind and gentle. I just couldn't believe that he would do those things. I couldn't. And then there was me. If it was all a lie, then I would never have been given. I would never have. Sorry. And then there was me. If it was all a lie, then I would never be given to the gods. What had they planned for me? Why did they make me the chosen and link to all these ascensions? Was it my abilities? I thought about what he had said after I'd taken his pain. He knew something, something he needed to tell me, which we'll find out in chapter 41 what that is. But I just thought that was like interesting
Yeah.
what she was saying.
All right. Chapter 41. She wakes up. No, she doesn't wake up. She is fighting sleep, right? And ends up falling asleep. Wakes
Yeah,
up several hours later. Apparently, it's like taking longer for her to wake up or something like that.
which he did say was going to happen from his blood, that
Yep.
she'd be sleepy.
Yeah. But more than anticipated or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And he's like, "Well, you're going to dinner with me, basically, so these other a-holes don't try to kill you."
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going down to dinner, and they go through the hallway or whatever, and the dudes that tried to kill her are,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, displayed in the hallway. And Jericho is still the only one that is still barely alive, and that he
Mm-hmm.
said he will end it when he's ready or something like that, which makes me wonder when he'll come back and if he's going to be a big bad because,
Yeah.
yeah, he has not been ended. So that's interesting to me. And
Mm-hmm.
then they are having dinner, and apparently, due to the bite, Cass knows that she is part mortal and part Atlantean.
Yep. From her blood.
And so she's like got all these questions like about her brother and stuff like that. And apparently Castile has had somebody watching her brother
Yep.
for several months and knows that he is alive, but he is most likely ascended.
Yep.
Yeah. And then do you want to close us out on your final thoughts on this?
Sure. Yep. And so he also like when he tells her you're you're part Atlantean. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then he says, I think that is why you were chosen. Your
Mm-hmm.
abilities and the fact that you are half Atlantean, at least half Atlantean. And she's like, why? Why? And he's like, so that you can do exactly what we are going to save, like what the person is doing that we're going to save,
Mm-hmm.
basically. So her ascension, the reason that she is the key to all the continuing ascensions that's going to pull everything together is because she is now going to be the one that's going to be used for her blood because she's got the Atlantean blood in her to
Mm-hmm.
continue the ascensions of the
Mm-hmm.
rest of the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then the chapter finishes out with
Oh my
like,
goodness. The book
oh
finishes
my
out.
goodness. The whole book finishes out with he says, we're leaving tomorrow for Atlantia. We're going home. We're going home.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, home? And he goes, we're going to Atlantia. And she says, Atlantia doesn't exist. And he's like, oh, it exists. You've been taught that, like, the wastelands in their maps and history and stuff, they were taught that that used to be Atlantia. And he's like, well, that was part of Atlantia, but that's not all of it. It still exists completely. And that's where we're going. And she's like, why? Why would you take me in the opposite direction of our end goal? Like, the end goal is that you're going to basically ransom me for your brother. So why
Mm-hmm.
are we going there instead of to the capital? And he says, we're going to Atlantia because I'm going to marry you, basically. Both parties of Atlantean blood have to be on Atlantean soil in order to make the two halves a whole.
That damn dimple appeared in his right cheek and then in his left. Castile, Denier, the Prince of Atlantia, smiled fully as he lifted our joined hands and said, we go home to marry my princess. Dun, dun, dun. What?
Oh my goodness.
I was like, why are we getting married? Mates, mates, mates. And that's what
Oh,
he
yeah.
was, mates.
Yeah, I think
And
so.
now
So,
he will not sacrifice her because
and I think they're going to be left with all kinds of fights and problems when they get to Atlantia because the end goal is to get brother out. And the reason they were like, that's why he kept saying, I'm so intrigued by you. You're so different. You're so different than what I thought. He didn't mean to fall for her. I don't believe he
mm-hmm.
meant to fall for her, but he did.
He
And she fell
did.
for him.
Uh-huh.
And now that puts a whole little wrinkle in the situation.
There's a lot of wrinkles going on. Time to get the iron out.
Yeah.
All right. So, what are your just kind of final thoughts of the book? Big picture, short version.
Short version. I mean, I basically kind of said it. I think they're going to go back to Atlantia. There's going to be issues because she wasn't supposed to, they weren't supposed to fall for each other, but they did. He's going to marry her. I truly think, though, now she knows the history, she knows the truth. She's going to start to really believe it one piece at a time. And her and Castile are going to be this force that take down the Ascended slash vampires
Yeah.
and restore order. But we have 6 books to get through. So there's a lot that's going to happen before the
Yeah.
end.
Yes.
But that's my thoughts, big picture.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm kind of with you. I obviously there's going to be another war of some sort. I
Oh
just
yeah.
don't know what. I can't wait to keep going, and I also cannot wait for when we do the what is it, Flesh and Fire series too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a good time too. Other than the first couple chapters that are just kind of like, okay, what the hell's going on? Who are these
Mm-hmm.
people? Where are we? What is happening here? It was all very action forward and go go go. And I liked this book a lot more than our last series because this one was very much like a yes, like that here's some things to figure out, but you are actually starting to figure things out and kind of see where this is starting to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked that so much more than the last series that we
And
did.
I think that this series too, I what something I appreciate about is it's a little bit more like true enemies to lovers than our
Yes.
last one.
Yeah.
They are truly supposed to be enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about spice level and overall star rating.
Okay.
So for spice level, let's do things a little bit differently from here on out. Let's do it like the Fable does. I love how
Yeah.
Fable does it because it makes sense. So
Yeah.
there's Pink Hearts, which is our first level, which is like a PG romance with no suggestive dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have One Chili Pepper, which means some spice, closed door, no explicit intimate scenes. And then we have a Fire, which is spicy, open door, and some explicit intimate scenes. And then we have the Hot and Bothered Face, which
Yep.
is extra spicy, and it's basically more smut than plot.
Mm-hmm.
So this book, I think we both give it a fire. We're
Yep.
spicy, we're open door, and
Yep.
definitely some explicit intimate scenes.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I gave it 4.25 stars out of 5.
Okay.
4 1/4. What'd you do?
I think I gave it 3 3/4, 3.75 on
Oh
stars.
man.
Um, Simply because I struggled for a long time to get into Poppy's character.
That is true.
I
Yeah.
really struggled with her character. I don't know why I couldn't get into her character.
All right. And we are starting over on our series cry counter. I
Yeah.
am still at a 0.
0 for me on this part.
Okay. I wouldn't be surprised if
We have
we,
6 books, so that's gonna change for
I'm
me.
about to
I
say it's
promise
going to
you.
change for Jess. Don't worry.
That about wraps it up for tonight's discussion. We hope you all are enjoying the series so far.
If you are interested in joining us for discussion on the podcast throughout the Blood and Ash series, make sure to reach out to us so we can get you on the podcast.
We are first time readers to this series, so we hope that you follow along with us. Or if you've already read the series, we hope that our discussions can be a refresher for you before book 6 comes out in September of this year.
Yeah. So make sure to join us on Facebook and Instagram for more fun and conversations. We also just started a club on Fable for the Unhinged Bookcast. Be sure to join that club and join us and discuss with us chapter by
Yeah.
chapter.
So, next episode, we'll be discussing book 2 in the Blood and Ash series by Jennifer Armentrout. And that book is called A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. And we'll be doing chapters 1 through 22. We'll be talking about this book in 2 parts as well.
We also have our reading schedule pinned on all of our platforms to help you navigate with our reading order that we are doing here.
Mm-hmm. If you're enjoying reading along with us or just enjoying our conversations and theories, be sure to like this video and hit that subscribe button on your way out.
And reading all these books with book besties is so much freaking fun.
So make sure to share with your book besties. And if you don't have any book besties,
Then consider yourselves one of ours. And until next time, fill those drinks with ice.
and your books of spice,
Bye.
bye.